high levels of lead in the water. It's triggered a shutdown at all water fountains in the Granville Village schools. The fountains are now shut down at Granville High, Middle School, and the elementary schools. NBC4 lead investigative reporter Dwayne Pullman, who just broke that story about the lead in the water at the State House, is here with the latest development from Granville. What's going on there, Dwayne?
Mike, the lead found in the water at some of the drinking fountains inside Granville schools is actually much higher than what I found at the State House. Now the fountains at all Granville schools are shut down. Bottled water is being hauled in and more testing is about to begin.
Water is no longer flowing at drinking fountains inside Granville Village schools as letters like this one are sent out informing parents like Jessica Danduran, whose daughter is in kindergarten, that lead was found in the water.
With our kids, we want to do anything we can to protect them.
Superintendent Jeff Brown says he ordered tests as a precaution.
We wanted to make sure that we could say with confidence that the drinking water was safe in Granville schools.
The superintendent was stunned by the results. High levels of lead, in one case 100 parts per billion, way above the EPA's cutoff of 15 parts per billion that's considered dangerous. The superintendent acted quickly, shutting down all the drinking fountains.
We acted literally within 15 minutes of getting the phone call from the village office.
Now bottled water is being hauled in and more tests have been ordered. Danduran is worried about her daughter at home, too, which is next door to that elementary school.
Yeah, it's a concern, so I think I'll get in touch with the water and just see if that affects us here at home.
So extensive tests are about to get underway at Granville to figure out where all that lead is coming from and how to get it out of the water there. At the same time, we're expecting results in the next day or two from the State House. That's where nearly 24 tests were ordered after my NBC4 investigation discovered lead in a drinking fountain there. I'm Dwayne Pullman, NBC4.
An NBC4 investigation is triggering tests for lead in the water at the most important and historic building in Ohio.
Here's lead investigative reporter Dwayne Pullman with a story you'll see only on 4, danger in the drinking water.
Over the past few weeks, I've been bringing in scientific containers like this one to the State House, collecting water from the drinking fountains. What I found was a real danger. Lead in the water at such high levels, the state had no choice but to shut down one of the fountains and order comprehensive water tests.
Luke Stetke, who helps operate Ohio's most important state building, wasted no time. Bagging and tagging this drinking fountain, cutting it off from public consumption.
You're shutting down the fountain?
Instantaneously, right now. Yep, correct.
No question.
No questions asked.
Ordering water tests of all drinking fountains here at Ohio's Capitol.
We'll get our people in here, do our own test, and then try to figure out the problem.
The reason? My NBC4 investigation discovered a danger in this water. Over the past few weeks, I've been testing the water at the State House, filling approved containers and preparing water samples. I brought my samples to Advanced Analytics Laboratories to look for lead. The tests revealed no detectable lead from 2 of the fountains, but water from this drinking fountain in the hallway on the first floor of the Senate office building came back positive.
Is it a hit?
Yes.
25 parts per billion, nearly double the amount of the EPA maximum lead limit of 15 parts per billion. That's considered dangerous to drink. But the lab wanted to make sure this wasn't an anomaly. So I went back to collect more samples from that same drinking fountain and a couple of others nearby. The testing again showed no problems at the 2 other fountains, but water from that same fountain was positive again. This time, the lead count was 23.8 parts per billion, again above the EPA cutoff for what's considered dangerous to drink.
Do they have a problem at the State House now?
Our results would say yes.
Which brings us back to that now bagged and tagged fountain.
It's a public issue.
Absolutely.
Stedke immediately jumped into action because our results were so clear. In a statement issued to NBC4 within an hour, Capitol Square Review and Advisory Board confirmed our NBC4 investigation has triggered testing water at all Ohio State House and Senate building drinking fountains.
We want to make sure everybody that visits or works in the State House is safe, so we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I confirm the state has begun testing 22 water samples from drinking fountains for lead at the State House. Of course, I'll let you know what they find in their water. In the meantime, I'm on a mission to get the lead out wherever we find it. In the next few weeks, I could be in your neighborhood to check your water. If you think you have a problem with lead in your area, just contact me at 844-NBC4-TIP. I'm Dwayne Pullman, NBC4.
And you can find Dwayne's full report.
And here in Columbus, fallout continues from our NBC4 investigation. We found high levels of lead at the State House. NBC4 lead investigator Dwayne Pullman is here now with the latest tests and what the plan is now to fix the issue at Ohio's most important building.
Colleen, because of my investigation, the state of Ohio now clearly knows it has a lead problem in some of the water at the State House. 2 water fountains are now turned off as managers of the Capitol building quickly come up with a plan to get that lead out.
This drinking fountain at the center of our NBC4 investigation, where I found dangerous levels of lead, no longer delivers water. Neither does this fountain, 1 floor up at the Senate building.
Currently, both of those are offline, out of service, and until we get to the bottom of it, they will remain offline.
Getting to the bottom of the lead problem that I exposed has been a big task at the State House. After my investigation, the Capitol Square Review and Advisory Board, which operates the State House, tested all the fountains here at this historic building, finding elevated lead in the water at the 2 fountains and at a faucet.
We want people to be safe down here.
In a follow-up test where the water was allowed to flow for 2 minutes before it was sampled, all the lead disappeared, except at the drinking fountain upstairs, which registered nearly 7 parts per billion, just under half EPA's cutoff for dangerous levels of lead.
And did you get the lead out?
We're getting the lead out.
Now, Luke Stetke says the board will tear apart that fountain to find out where that lead is coming from.
We're just going to take it apart and see what's in there.
Until then, Stetke says these fountains will remain turned off, perhaps for good.
If it's going to cost too much to mitigate, we just take it offline permanently.
Now that could mean both those fountains would be removed from the walls. My NBC4 investigation may have another big impact, by the way. Stetke says the board is now considering running the water for 2 minutes at all the State House drinking fountains each and every day. That move, he and others say, would flush out any lead before the public could get a dangerous drink. Of course, I'll stay on top of all the developments. I'm Dwayne Pullman, NBC4.
Of NBC4 investigation, danger in the drinking water. Ohio's Speaker of the House has now ordered more water tests at major state office buildings downtown.
It is a direct result of NBC4 lead investigator reporter Dwayne Pullman's exclusive reports where he found dangerous levels of lead in water at the State House. And Dwayne is now here with the latest.
Yeah, let's walk you through this. I found dangerous levels of lead at a drinking fountain at the State House. That triggered the state to immediately shut down that fountain and test all other drinking fountains at the State House. Well, today, Ohio's Speaker of the House tells me that's not enough, and he and others are now demanding the water be tested at major state office buildings near the State House, too.
Based on, I think, your all's finding that you walked around here at State House, we have some concern.
The Speaker of the Ohio House of Representatives, Cliff Rosenberger, is concerned about the dangerous levels of lead I found in the water at the State House. He's now triggering a call for even more lead testing of 2 major state office buildings near the State House, the Rhodes Office Tower and the Rife Center.
I said what we want to do is ensure that we are doing something that is safe for all our state office buildings. And so I think we're going to have an expanded look at what's happening in other areas.
In 2 samples I filled from this fountain in the Senate office building at the State House, lead was revealed by the lab at nearly double the limit of what the EPA guidelines say is safe. That drinking fountain was immediately bagged and tagged. And the board that oversees the State House tells me today it expects results of its own tests of nearly 24 fountains and taps in just a few days.
You're expecting the test to come back when?
Thursday or Friday.
And at that point, you'll determine
how big
Next
this
steps.
is.
Yep.
Right.
Thanks to the Speaker of the House, those next steps now include many more tests at two of the biggest buildings in downtown Columbus to see if there's a bigger problem with lead in the water.
I don't think this is a widespread problem. I think it's an isolated issue, and it's just we need to zero in on it, but we also should do at the same time due diligence and make sure we're checking everything else.
Now, the Speaker tells me the Department of Administrative Services and the EPA, they'll be overseeing these tests. I'll stay on top of it and tell you what they find out. Don't forget, I'm on a mission to get the lead out. If you think you have a problem with your water at your home or your neighborhood or anywhere else, I'm ready to take a sample and take a look. Just contact me at 844-NBC4-TIP.
All right, thanks, Dwayne. We turn to the weather now.